don't think we have any.
I was trying to make sense of the colours that you're wearing.
No, just rocked up from work and didn't bring a spare shirt.
Is there any team that's ever had those colours in particular? Red, white, green, blue?
Milwaukee.
Old Milwaukee, yeah?
They've used them all.
Yeah, old Milwaukee, because they barely... I mean, no, but like sort of all in the same era.
All together, no. They used to sort of have the one with the stripes down the side, which would have had them, but like it was a dark green and dark blue.
There's probably something in like the ABA we're not thinking of. I think of Milwaukee, though. The blue just throws me off, but it's Milwaukee.
Go Bucks.
Welcome to the Bronx Cheer Basketball Show. I'm your host, Nathan Callanan, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Jack Lynch. I don't do the date thing anymore. I don't do the date thing or the thing, so there's not much to stuff up. And I was stuffing up beforehand, but I'm going to cut all that out. So. How are you, JL?
Well, I'm annoyed that people think you're a good host now. No, I'm very well. Life's good. Sun's shining in Melbourne.
Oh my gosh.
So, you know.
You can't see it in shot because, you know, we just manipulated that well. But there's an aircon in here. So we're living pretty, mate. Is that a saying?
It is now.
Living pretty.
It is
living
now.
well. Anyway, before our little song there, we got too much into You Dress Like the Milwaukee Bucks. But I did want to, before we get into the formal stuff, I did want to get back to some informal stuff. Last week, I brought out this Ben Simmons jersey. One of the YouTube commenters straight away was like, I'll take that jersey. I'm not actually willing to give it away. I'm a pretty dedicated fan and I love my jerseys.
You shouldn't love this one.
I don't know. But anyway, Ben Simmons, whatever. JL, how much do you love Ben Simmons?
My favourite player of all time.
Tell our new listeners and our new viewers, you've scored on him.
I did score on him.
For all our new audience, Jack Lynch here, quickly just give us a recap of how you scored on Ben Simmons.
I was 13. I was 14. He was 12, 13. High school basketball. Okay. He was big and scary compared to the rest of us pre-pubescent boys. And got the ball. He switched on to me and I naturally shat myself and put up a one-legged floater.
Was it one of those, can I ask, was it one of those, surely, those shots where you don't even remember what your arms felt like?
I'd never even attempted a floater at that point. And I just had to try and get over him and I just threw it up and it went in. Yeah. Didn't score the rest of the game, but I scored on Ben Simmons.
Yeah. Not that I've played as much basketball as you at all, but my first ever bucket in competitive basketball was a tip-in. I can't remember how I possibly jumped that high. And I was thinner than I am today, but I can't imagine how I jumped that high.
You've got the Zach Randolph vertical leap of struggling to get onto a phone book.
Anyway, so back to Ben Simmons. The reason why I've brought this jersey back to this episode is that our teams, mate, the Celtics and Philly are playing each other. Two of the biggest rivals in the NBA. And they're playing each other Wednesday night America time, 11:30 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time for us on Thursday. And I want to make it interesting. We all know. And so anyway, you scored on Ben Simmons, but he hates Ben Simmons with a passion, right?
Yeah. That undersells it.
If we beat you on Thursday our time, next week's episode, YouTube viewers, have a look. Listeners, tune into YouTube and have a look. Jack Lynch will wear this Ben Simmons jersey for the entirety of the podcast. And if Celtics win, I'm sure you got something for me.
If Boston win,
oh god,
I'll give you two options. You can pick. One of them is going to be a long con, and you've got to pretend Westbrook's your favourite player for the remainder of the NBA season. Or, if you want to get it out of the way, you can wear a 2014 Christmas Day Marcus Smart jersey.
You've got that?
Yeah, I've got that.
You got it in my size. 2014. All right, well, I cannot possibly pretend that Russell Westbrook is my favourite player. I'm sure I'll be stretching that jersey, but I'll put on the jersey for the one episode next week.
For one episode next week.
All right, beauty. No way I was going to... That Russell, that's huge. That's not worth one regular season game. You want me to talk up Russell Westbrook? That's going to...
Pretty sure he's going to win MVP.
That's going to be... That's what I'd have to say. All right, let's get into it. Also, if you're new to the show, hit subscribe or follow on the podcast apps. And on YouTube, hit subscribe and notifications bell. And follow us on social media, especially TikTok. We're off and running. JL, man, you got some haters. I got some haters as well because I've put Embiid pretty high in our last weeks. Check that out if you haven't seen it or heard it.
And I got haters for putting Embiid too low.
Embiid too low, basically. So we got one comment said, these are both horrible lists and we're both really biased.
I'm glad someone worked it out pretty quickly.
there was also a comment, the two worst fan bases in the NBA. And I got a feeling that we might not be able to see it.
We're two of the top three.
Yeah.
Lakers are in there
But
as well.
I reckon that if we are the two worst fan bases in the NBA, it's because we're two of the most, I'm going to mix these two words, chaotic and dedicated.
And angry.
I reckon, like, I've always said this, cold weather sport or cold weather cities, you get more passionate sport fans. I.e., we're in Melbourne, it's a cold weather city of Australia. Philadelphia, New York, Boston, all these teams, cold weather, all they got to do...
we're perpetually angry.
All they have to do is, be dedicated. I went to LA last year, and it's maybe you can't count it as a full analysis, but I can see why Lakers fans, I call them Laker brains, trademarked. Some Laker fans, most that I know, can be pretty casuals.
Blasé.
Yeah, we've heard that word on TikTok a lot this week. Because why not? Because the sun is beautiful in Los Angeles, and you should always be outside, not watching NBA. Anyway, let's get on to the formal part, JL.
The fun part.
Boogie Cousins. Since we last spoke, Boogie Cousins has today or yesterday signed a non-guaranteed with the Bucks. 5-second thoughts.
Why? I know why he did it. He wants a ring.
Yeah, but not only that, but I reckon why not? They got 15th man on the roster.
Yeah.
Why not? If Lopez is going to be down, Bobby Portis and Lopez both got COVID. Bit of regular season stuff.
He'll play six minutes before he gets injured again, but sure.
Okay, and there's a couple of guys in the state of New York that are apparently out of the rotation. I've never seen such out of the rotation sort of headlines. But anyway, Tibbs has said that Kemba Walker is out of the rotation. Man, that hurts after returning to your hometown, finally. He says he has great respect for Walker and what he's accomplished.
I liked this quote.
Whoa, that's
goodbye forever.
You're done.
Yeah.
Whoa. Again, 1 minute thoughts, but personally, I think that this is a positive thing for the Knicks because
Definitely.
Because
the contract's not positive.
That's right. Like, not only is he getting paid too much, but I've said, and I'm sure lots of people say that Thibodeau and this Knicks thing is nice because they need to win because they're not used to winning. It's good for the fans, but at the end of the day, when are we going to start thinking about big winning? Trying to go for a championship, and part of trying to go for a championship is cutting off the dead wood and the guys who are not going to be with you at the time of that ring. Kemba Walker, no matter how good they shot up this year, is not going to be on the New York Knicks for their next ring.
He's a net negative at the moment.
That's right.
And that's even if he was getting paid a vet minimum.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
You can't do anything.
That's right. So he's out of the rotation, and I got to say, a bit of a smile on my face, Blake Griffin's out of the rotation for the the Brooklyn Nets. I hated that pickup the whole time. I hated he's got a swagger about him.
I like Blake. Not as a player. Not as a player because he can't play anymore. But his work outside of basketball.
Yes.
I like him as a person, and I want him to do well in the league because it gives him more opportunities to do his stand-up and things like that. No, how many NBA players have done stand-up?
Yeah, I know.
And that's what I like about him. But yeah, you're right. The picking him up was weird because...
And I just hated how...
They needed someone to defend, and he's not that guy.
Yeah, and I just hated how everyone, and of course, your classic, Bleacher Report, it was all like, oh...
For all NBA players.
Blake Griffin has dunked, he finessed the Pistons, and he's so good and all this. Look, he had good moments, but... I just wanted that to end. There's a lot of vet minimums that can anger you, from a shitty team.
LaMarcus Aldridge, the same thing.
Yeah. Yep. But I don't know. He had a heart problem, so we don't talk bad about him. Good to see him back. Staying with the Brooklyn Nets, Joe Harris is out for 4 to 8 weeks, I believe, after having an ankle procedure. I hope that's exactly what it is. Otherwise, I've noted it down wrong. Anything?
He was missing threes anyway, so...
Yeah, interesting to see. The Nets...
Gives Patty Mills some more opportunity.
Yeah, oh, man. Patty Mills.
He's been on.
He's so underappreciated, Patty Mills. Enes Kanter Freedom. Have you heard that name? Enes Kanter has officially legally changed his name to Enes Kanter Freedom.
The biggest contract signing since LeBron went to the Lakers.
I don't know. Look, I'm all about sort of human rights, and that's what he's about.
Is he?
I'm pretty sure he is.
He thinks he is.
Well, yeah. But anyway, he's never done anything bad. I don't want to sort of condone him and he's done bad things. He's only done good things. He's only ever speaking out on good things.
No, he's an idiot. I disagree.
No. But what has he said? Have I missed something?
It's not that he said it, but he supports the Turkish political party and I don't know a lot about the Turkish political parties, but he's essentially like alt-right wing and supports the dictatorship in Turkey, if I'm understanding it correctly.
I thought he was so against Turkey.
He's against China.
And he's so against Turkey and they won't give him his family back and all that. You know that stuff?
Yeah. So I don't know the full scope of it, but essentially who he supports is alt-right wing.
Yeah.
And do you see what he said today about America?
No.
Like he said, should get the full quote up, but it's like, for the people that are criticising America, stop criticising your own country and appreciate you're living in the best country on earth. It's like, that's why you should criticise your own country if you think it's the best, is it to make it better?
Yeah, but still.
No, he's lost the plot. Hot political take?
But wouldn't
Enes Kanter is going to be like the face of right-wing politics in America in a few years' time.
Like a sort of like an actor turning into a
we'll do
a
something
politician
stupid
type thing. Well, I didn't want to get too political, but Enes Kanter Freedom is just hilarious. Is it anyone else other than Meta World Peace who's done it that you can think of?
World Be Free.
What was his original name?
World Not Free. World Be Free. Here's one for you. When did he play in the 80s?
I'm not sure, but I'm not 100% familiar with him. I've heard of World Be Free.
He played from 75 to 88. Born Lloyd Bernard Free.
It's pretty similar.
Yeah.
Bernard. All right. Anyway, let's keep going. Finally, in the last little note to touch on, I think, there's probably more. Michael Porter Jr., we touched on him like there was a report that he may have a nerve issue, but it's been reported in the last day or so. He's had or having back surgery, and he will be out for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Or indefinitely, but most likely the rest of the season. And he's getting paid. I don't know if he's already on the contract. I think he might not be.
No, he signed it in the last season, didn't he? So he's still on the rookie.
Yeah. The team, there was a team option, and they picked it up.
So it starts as of next season.
Okay, yeah. So that may not hurt them, which might.
It still will in the long run.
In the long run, but I have something about later, which I'm silly for. Anyway, let's get into it. So today we're going to be talking about which teams can actually win the championship. And I didn't actually count how many there are, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I've got like a
tier list.
Tier down. And then it's like 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. But to even say 14 tells you that the
league's in a good place.
It is, but it's also, there's a whole lot of, and I said this last week, it's in chaos.
Yeah.
With Kyrie Irving out, with Ben Simmons out.
He doesn't make a difference.
With who else? We don't ever know about like what's happening around Luka. AD and Westbrook crap. Kawhi, Jamal Murray, now MPJ. Miami, who knows about like the fit? We have to see if this is going to work. Klay Thompson. It's insane. The Rudy Gobert thing, in the playoffs. The Phoenix Suns and their legitimacy.
Harrison Barnes struggling for Sacramento.
It's actually insane, and it's opened up all these doors. any of these, what did I say? 10, 13?
14.
14. Any of these 14 teams, some of them would need a miracle, but for me, could win the championship.
There's 14.
14.
There's a few that are likely, and there's
Yeah.
14 that it's foreseeable, which 2-3 years ago, it was 4 teams.
Yeah. I think as the season goes on and we have some of these players come back, or we work out their timeline of coming back at least, we're going to get back to that. Okay, here's the tiers of teams. But right now, it's hard to recognize what is going on. So we need to smash through this because we've got to get to our segment, and it's called...
And our dinner dates by ourselves.
We're going to get to our segment, which is Start, Bench, Cut. I'm looking forward to that one. So let's smash through this.
Let's do it.
So to start off with, I've got the Lakers here. The Lakers, and this is that sort of tier 1, and then there's a tier 2. The Lakers, can they actually win the championship?
Not right now.
Not right now.
But they're in the tier 1 because of the reputation that precedes them.
Hold on, let me stop you there. Sorry. Can they not win it? As in, when you say not right now, what am I going for? Like,
with the way they're currently playing, nowhere near it.
No. But
with this roster, maybe.
Yeah, you've
With
got to have
trades
like,
at the
faith.
deadline.
You've got to have faith.
You just
I
bet, you
guess.
always bet with LeBron, given history.
Yeah.
But given that they're most likely to make some trades during the deadline, I would say that they're always going to be a chance. GM LeBron's going to... He always does something.
Yeah.
I don't think it's panic mode yet. Westbrook's actually been playing good basketball, and I actually genuinely say that unironically, which I know is going to hate you, but his last 5 games, he's put together some good games. But the issue is, I think it was it 2 games ago? Yeah, when they played Detroit. And LeBron played really well. AD played well. Westbrook played well. And they won by like 4 points.
Yesterday, yeah.
And that's where the issue is at the moment. They've got, even if those 3 play ridiculously well, they've got no depth. And we know that, and I know you'll mention it, that AD isn't what he has been, and Westbrook's inconsistencies and relentless shooting deep twos isn't going to help him win.
Yep.
But they do have it's the reputation that you just don't want to go against them, but right now.
Even though the notes that I've put down here are all negative, I got to say that when you ask the question, can they actually win the championship? It's just straight out yes.
Yeah.
Because
I
there's
hate that it's a yes.
Yes, so do I. I hate that it's a yes. Even though AD looks at his worst, offensively mainly, I reckon LeBron, I'm not going to be like he's done, but I reckon at least for the regular season, and maybe even early playoffs, he knows, and maybe it's also the Westbrook factor, but he knows he has to take it easy and shoot, and he's shooting well. I think this is his best start ever, or percentage from the line so far. I might be wrong.
It looks natural. His form's definitely changed.
Yeah. So the Lakers just straight out, they can. And I do think, as you talk about LeBron, I think he won't let them not get, especially him and AD. He won't let them not get to their best of what they can possibly get with, not counting injuries this season. And the way the NBA is right now, especially with, again, some of these huge contenders with some big injuries, they got to be one of the favourites. The Lakers.
I think they are by money second favourites.
Yeah, under the Nets, probably.
Warriors at the moment.
Oh, well, we'll get to the Warriors. Let's get to them now. All right, the Golden State Warriors. We talked about this as a whole topic last week. Same with the Lakers. And I said, can we actually see the Golden State Warriors as a championship favourite moving into the playoffs? And I think we both agreed no. But let's sort of just go on it a bit more. Maybe sort of comparing to what's around them. I just said that the Lakers might be a favourite for the championship just because, I keep saying it, but Murray and Kawhi are out. Murray's 25% of the Nuggets cap. Kawhi is 25% of the Clippers cap. So it's not just these players are out. Same with Ben Simmons. And the same with Kyrie
You're
Irving.
restricted with what else you can do.
That's right. The Warriors, I don't know, like with Klay Thompson coming back and with what they're doing, but with also the other teams and where they're standing, what do you see for the Warriors?
I don't know because they keep winning. I keep sort of underselling them, but they're playing really good basketball. Everyone's sort of relying on Clay to come back, and he's a weird one because we know that with sports science getting better, and we know that it is easy to come back from an ACL and an Achilles, but coming back from both at the same time is going to be tough. Since he played last, we've crowned 3 NBA champions.
That's crazy.
But that, to me, is bizarre.
That's insane.
So, look, I'm not expecting him to do a lot, but I still think he's going to be a great catch and shoot guy.
Do you think, like, where does he or you name a player on the Warriors have to reach for them to be like a lock for the conference finals? Or can they do it already? Lock. I couldn't lock them.
I couldn't lock him either.
No, but what would you say needs to happen for them or get elevated?
Clay needs to be... I think their offense is fine. And whatever he brings on offense is going to be good enough. He needs to be able to defend like he used to.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, all right, this team can do it again.
Exactly like he used to, or like at least like 70%?
75, 80%. Because he was crucial to their ability to switch everything.
Yeah.
That's what I worry about, is that he's not going to have that lateral movement like he used to be able to. So I won't lock him in, but so far this season, they keep proving me wrong.
Lakers, Warriors, quick yes or no. Don't even go into it. Is James Wiseman on the Warriors by playoffs? And is Russell Westbrook on the Lakers come playoffs?
Yes to Westbrook. I think that contract's too hard
Can't
to
do
move.
anything about it.
He's been traded how many times in the last...
I know, but now that's too much.
But I thought it when he signed it with OKC, and I thought it when he went to Houston, and then I thought it when he went to Washington. So he's getting bounced around. So there is value in taking on big contracts if you're a tanking team.
But yes, you said.
Like hypothetically, if they did want to give him to OKC with a first round pick, I don't know what the Lakers have, OKC would probably take that, given they're hoarding picks.
Yeah.
And they could advertise that to the fans as, Russ is back home.
Yeah.
I still think he'll be there though. Wiseman, no, purely because it's win now mode for the Warriors.
Yeah, they just don't need him.
No.
They just don't need him. You can't deny that. They don't. So let's keep going. Let's keep smashing them out. The Milwaukee Bucks, they won the championship last season, have started a bit iffy at the moment just because they've had all their players out. Drew Holiday hasn't been shooting well to start the season, but he's not known for being a shooter. I've got here, always great, but was their championship one of the easier ones to win, and does that reflect on their caliber? And the answer is yes. Of course it was. They had to beat the hindered Brooklyn Nets, and it took them a KD big toe. What size shoe is he? No, it's not that the Bucks didn't deserve it, but if the Nets were...
But you could say that with every... every
this
champion.
one in particular. Yes, people say you can say that about the Warriors. Like every single time they had an injury along the way. The Bucks, who did they play in the first round? Who did they play in the damn first round?
Orlando?
Yeah, okay, so that's whatever. The Nets were hindered by injury. Kyrie basically didn't play, and then Harden didn't play the other half, and then when Harden came back, he could barely play. It's just one guy. I know KD is great, but it's just one guy. And it took them till Game 7. Toe on the line makes a difference. And then the Phoenix Suns, as good as the Phoenix Suns were,
they weren't ready yet.
You've made the point. Lakers got done by injury. And who else? And Clippers got done by injury. Clippers would have beaten the Suns.
And the Nuggets got done by injury.
I don't know about Nuggets. Can't guarantee the Nuggets. Clippers and Lakers would have beaten the Suns.
Yeah.
Clippers found it last year. Anyway, so I'm getting at, I don't want to trash or whatever. I'm not trying to, but you can't just be like, okay, they're the ones to beat now. For me, Brooklyn need to work out their Kyrie situation, but even if they don't, if they can just get James Harden to their best, I just feel like Brooklyn are got to be the favourites. If James Harden's at his best, Brooklyn have got to be the favourites, even without depth. Anyway, but
we'll touch on them.
We'll touch on them. So the Bucks.
The Bucks, I think they look better than last year when they are on the court, which hasn't been often. Giannis looks to have increased his game and improved his game. Middleton you can rely on, but like Pat Connaughton, he's been playing ridiculously well shooting the ball. I know they've got a lot of good guys on cheap contracts. It's working well in their favour. they're a lock for the conference finals in my mind.
Yeah.
And then it's anyone's game from that point on for this year, I reckon.
Yeah, I just don't know. I just can't help but feel like we got something ingenuine in that championship. Not that they're not one of the best teams in the NBA, but LeBron and KD and that. Come on, LeBron and KD.
When are we going to stop saying LeBron and KD?
It's
been so long.
Let's not do this KD thing again.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like.
Okay, well, you mean it's just KD now?
No, I'm just saying. It feels like.
Don't do it again.
I'm supporting you. It's like tennis for the Bronx cheer tennis fans out there. Remember Rafa, Nadal, Djokovic.
Yeah.
For how long has it been those three?
Yeah.
And it's still LeBron and KD since like 2011.
Yeah.
2012. And it's like someone's got to take the mantelpiece eventually. And it's still though there's a few others in there, but
Kawhi,
at what point can we?
Kawhi at his best has bumped it. He's knocked it. He has on the door,
and they haven't let him in. Curry's in the room with them.
At one moment, he was in.
Curry's let him in.
Kawhi.
And it's those three though, in my mind.
Let's not get into it again. If you want to see a mini KD versus Curry debate, which we're actually going to formalise, I'm telling you.
We have to do it.
We're going to formalise and do it properly, and you're going to come in with armour. Because I don't know how you can possibly say it. Anyway, let's keep going. I think the Bucks definitely can win the championship, of course. It's just that it seems all too happy sunshine and rainbows. That's when I lean to negative to remind people, hold on, are they really the favourites though? The Clippers.
No.
Kawhi is not scheduled to return until March or April. He's ahead of schedule with the rehab. They always say that.
Yeah. Every player in history has been ahead of schedule.
I don't think he's going to
except
come back.
Zion.
I don't think he's going to come back. He done his ACL.
And even if he does, he's not going to be the same.
In the delayed, so we had a delayed playoffs. Yeah, and he's probably not going to be the same in July. Normally, you need a calendar year.
Yeah.
That's past. I don't think he's coming back.
Neither
Sorry,
do I.
Clippers fans. They can be optimistic, but I don't think he's coming back. We'll see how it goes. And that just means they can't win the championship, personally. Paul George is good. He normally falls off in the playoffs.
You don't reckon Eric Bledsoe is going to carry him?
Sorry, Clippers. Can't win the championship if Kawhi doesn't come back to his best, which is just such a fairy tale at this point. The Brooklyn Nets. Let's keep smashing them out. So go fast. I've got here, can James Harden return to his best? If he does, because the Kyrie thing is it's a situation. It's a money situation. Yeah. It's mainly that. If they had Kyrie and like...
If they had Kyrie and they're playing well,
yeah,
you'd have to pick him.
You'd have to pick him as like, head
and shoulders above.
Yeah. If James Harden can't return to his best, and we know about the defensive sort of holes, there might not be this world beat. It's hard because it's KD
for a team with the talent they have.
Yeah,
and they're still first in the East, mind you.
Yeah,
but they're not playing as well as people expected them to play.
Yeah,
they had this so many expectations, and they're still playing well.
Yeah,
but it reminds me of 2011 Miami.
Yeah,
where they sign these players, and everyone's like, "Oh God!" And then you watch them play, and it's like, "Hang on, maybe there is a chance."
Yeah,
and that's how it feels right now.
Yeah, no, for me, it's like got to do with James. If Kyrie's not going to play, it's either if James Harden's like at not at his best,
All star but not all NBA sort of.
Yeah, they go from here, and then if he gets to just literally 85% of his best, 80% of his best,
yeah,
they go to like, they'll beat you in a shootout basically in the playoffs. The Nuggets. PJ Dozier. I know he may not be a huge piece, but he's out for the season with ACL. MPJ is done for the season. Murray realistically shouldn't be back until it doesn't have a timetable. He started
until the start of the playoffs.
Started warming up, until March, April sort of thing. Despite ramping up his warm ups.
No.
If MPJ is out for the rest of the season, I don't know. They still could.
It would take an all-time carry job by Jokic to make this happen. And if I had to rely on one player in the NBA to do everything,
Would be him.
He'd be
He'd be one of them.
one of the top 3 probably at the
Yeah.
moment. His ability to just like keep games close by controlling the pace, and then his ability to finish games and score. His efficiency at the end of games, I don't know what it is, but he's the most clutch player I've ever seen. I
That's
think.
my favourite thing about him, to be honest, and the playoff performances.
It would be like a 2011 Dirk situation. Unlikely, but if Murray can be as good as he was,
Yeah.
you only need those two to be playing high-level basketball, and then everyone else will get their shots in rhythm. So it's possible,
We're
but unlikely.
we're finally seeing the return of Will the Thrill, Will Barden. It felt like he was injured for 2 years, for God's sake. Anyway, he's a decent piece to just plug in. So, just listing off some of their players. Aaron Gordon, defensive, Jokic. Murray comes back, I hope, at his best, or at least near it. A bit of Will Barden, a bit of Jeff Green, Austin Rivers. Anyway, I reckon if Murray comes back, they can win the championship. If he doesn't, they can't. Simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without him, they've got no chance, but with him, it's unlikely, but
Yeah.
it is possible if MPJ's out.
Yeah. I also we're going to make sure the Nets can win the championship, like regardless of Harden's level. Miami. How close to their ceiling do they need to be at to defeat playoff Nets and playoff Bucks? Do they have to be at their best?
That's be on the roof.
Yeah. Do they have to be like?
I think they're a tier below, or not even a step below. Defensively, they can match it with anyone, and to beat those two teams, that's what you need. But I don't think they have the offensive star power to do so. I remember in the preseason predictions, I called Tyler Hero needs to be the number one scorer. Not number one option, but number one scorer.
He's killing it.
He's killing it.
He's killing it.
And that has opened up their offensive game so much. Duncan Robinson doing Duncan Robinson things. Jimmy Butler doing Jimmy Butler things. They can do it. So I wouldn't rule them out yet. But
it would need to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I reckon because they've got such a great coach in Spo that they can get to the well-oiled machine idea. I reckon they can get there, but they must. They must get to their ceiling to beat playoff Bucks or playoff Nets.
Whereas I feel like the Nets could beat them at 80%.
Yeah, that's right. And same with the Bucks. I reckon at full strength, as long as they're all healthy, I reckon the Bucks, they'll get the higher seed, you'd think, once they're all off, injury or COVID or whatever. And at home, the Bucks, I reckon, you got to be well-oiled if you're Miami this season, I reckon, to win the championship. They can, though. They can just.
Yeah.
The Phoenix Suns, last two before we're on to the next tier. The Phoenix Suns are rolling.
16 now? 17?
Something like that. I haven't checked in, actually, to be honest. But I do know that they're playing the Warriors in a couple times. It's going to be some great matchups at the top of the West. Can they take another forward step? Even the winning streak is not great for me.
The streak started with 10 games where it didn't impress me. They had an opportunity to get on a streak because of who they were playing, but of late they've won some big games. Booker's been playing really well. Chris Paul finishes the games for them, whereas Booker sort of sets the tempo early on. They're playing really good basketball, and like the Warriors, they keep proving me wrong so far this season.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be much better than they were last year, which last year they weren't good enough. But given the way they're playing, and it's the role players that are stepping up as well at the moment.
Yeah.
I feel like Ayton, Bridges, Booker, CP3, they're playing as well as they were last year, but everyone else sort of seems to be taking a step, and that's where they're going to win playoff games.
Yeah.
They can, but again, perfect storm sort of situation.
Yeah, and Kaminsky sometimes, Frank the Tank, he does some good things here and there in the regular season, but I cannot fathom him in the playoffs.
Well, he'd just get it targeted.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm pretty sure we saw him a couple of times in the playoffs last season. So can I just ask you, you just, sparked a thought. We're going to see, but who would you rank higher right now, just in ability or whatever? Warriors or Suns?
the Warriors will finish the regular season with a better record.
Yeah. No, but right now.
But
what we're seeing right
in
now.
a playoff series, I think I would take Phoenix for the time being.
But right now.
right now,
Yeah. Just like who's more powerful?
I think the Warriors
It's crazy, right? It sort of feels like that. Like we're talking about the top of the West. These two teams are flying. Like the Warriors, and it's because of Steph. Yeah. It's because of coaching. Steph. Their players are good, but it's because of coaching and Steph. But that's how good Steph is.
His ability to stretch a defense till it breaks.
Because they got CP3. Their starting lineup and their core is
head and shoulders better than the Warriors.
Yeah, but Steph, oh man, so good, man. Anyway, the Suns are so great, but I don't know. It's just a weird one. They can win the championship.
Yeah.
But they would need. They also like the Heat. They would need to be at their like blasting best. You know, the best that they could ever play.
I like Monty Williams though.
Yeah,
I love
everything about Phoenix.
Yeah.
A similar team from the Northwest, I believe it is. Utah Jazz. Do they have a plan for when teams expose Rudy in the playoffs? I've got to think they must. As in, when I say they must, they either do have some sort of plan this year, because it was too obvious last year. And we talked about how if the Rudy things happen again, does the Donovan Mitchell want to go?
Who knocked him out last year? The Clippers.
Clippers, and then the Clippers finished off with no Kawhi and still beat them.
Shooters. That's how you beat Utah.
Yeah. I reckon they surely will go in with a plan this season and be like, oh, maybe we sit Rudy. Or they're just, again, hoping that they just get the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? Just big teams.
Rudy is moving like he's lost a bit of weight.
Yeah.
Like that. So for someone that's 3 times Defensive Player of the Year, we don't take his defense that seriously because what the Clippers did was put 5 shooters on the floor.
It's a funny one.
Put 5 shooters on the floor and you expose his weaknesses on the perimeter. But right now he's moving well on the perimeter compared to the last 3, 4, 5 seasons.
Yep.
That might be something that he's intentionally done over the off-season because he knows that's his biggest weakness.
Yeah.
But we might see it again.
I don't reckon.
But also we don't get it. Last year the Clippers had 6 guys shoot over 40% from 3.
Yeah.
You're not going to get many teams that can do that.
Yeah, but that's a plan. You know, like, I know that, I know you can't bank on that, but I think more and more you will be able to, you know, as we evolve with the three-point game.
Who in the West has the shooters that the Clippers did last year?
Oh, well, I don't know, but it's more so, that's what I'm saying. Maybe the Jazz are just counting on not running into like a team that does that to them again. It's more so them, like the Jazz's shooters, maybe Phoenix. Who else? Who else is in the West? You know, it's maybe Portland, but Portland wouldn't do it.
No.
Anyway, you're right. Like they probably just hope. You know, they can't do much. He's one of their franchise players.
He's going to be one of the best defensive players ever.
Yeah,
he already is.
They probably just hope that they don't run into like the Clippers again.
Like, if he was playing in like the mid 2000s, like. The way we look at Dwight Howard defensively would be the way we sort of talk about Rudy. It's just that he's playing in a time where every single player on the court shoots threes.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've gone for a long while. We need to get into the segment. So, here's the tier 2. We're going to really smash it out. I may not even get reasons here, but Bulls. So, the Jazz, can they win the championship? They can.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course they can. The Bulls.
No.
I'm also going to go no. The questions I have here, we don't even have to get into it. Could it really happen this quickly? No, it couldn't. Is their core good enough at perimeter defense and offense? You know, on the perimeter, are they good enough? Lonzo Ball has improved and become a good shooter.
Great shooter.
Yeah, and Caruso's a good defender. Lonzo's a good defender. That's about it for me. Vooch, DeRozan, and Levine are all just offense, especially playoff time. And so, for me, just on that, they're not ready.
I think that they started hot. They've cooled down, definitely. They're
Still
not far away. I reckon they might win a series. They'll probably win a playoff series this year. And that's a massive step forward.
Yeah, and especially if they're going to... I reckon they're going to do well in the regular season, get a high seed, and then they'll get someone lower quality than them. But I don't think they actually can win the championship, even if everything went right. The Philadelphia 76ers. Can they make a worthy Ben Simmons trade? This is the only question. Can they make a worthy Ben Simmons trade in time to keep them in the conversation this season?
No.
The answer is no.
No one's going to trade for Ben.
That's what
That's
puts us in
worthy
the
of Ben.
championship conversation. We've been playing great. Doc Rivers is a great regular season coach. I'm gonna die saying this, but I don't think I don't think we're gonna get a good trade for Ben.
There's what maybe
in time.
There no players at Ben's level are available.
Yeah.
So I don't see it happening.
Unless Embiid, the only way is Embiid goes supernova, which similar to last year is possible, and then say we do go and get like, for example, like Fox, which is nowhere near the caliber or fit that we need, but we got like Fox and, not Buddy Hield. I don't know if we could get Buddy Hield at Fox for Ben now, but just say like even just a lesser Buddy Hield, like, we got a Seth Curry, but he's shown how good he is. Anyway, I think the answer is no, because we can't make that trade. Daryl Morey says we're not making the trade unless it's a difference maker. I don't reckon we're getting one.
No.
So it bloody kills me, but the more and more I think about it and I keep watching us, it's all too good. It's all going too well, and there's just this emptiness inside us. That's that Ben problem. Anyway, the Boston Celtics, can they win the championship?
Not candidates. When will they? No, the Boston can't for this season.
They cannot.
I'm not sold on Ime Udoka.
No, I wouldn't be either.
But more important, what I think is the issue is that Boston, and I said this about like Luka last week, is that early success gets people impatient. Mm-hmm. Boston's success with Tatum and Brown early on has now got people underestimating them and being impatient. But at the end of the day, they're still so young. Probably the third most important player on this team is Robert Williams. This is probably his first season where he's actually getting good minutes.
Yeah. Al Horford's on a lot of money.
Yeah. This is going to be a 3-4 year plan.
Yeah.
Give him time.
Yeah.
Still a while away.
Yeah, the Al Horford thing, the Josh Richardson thing, the zombies of the Sixers' terrible bubble run, which we've already touched on. You've talked about how Tatum and Brown, as good as they are, they're not LeBron and Wade, so I don't think I've got here, can Ime Udoka get the best out of this team? And I don't think he can, like Brad Stevens did. And is this team even intended to go far right now? And you started off with, it's more of a plan. Yeah. It isn't. It isn't meant to challenge right now.
We've got a lot of expiring contracts. Yeah. And it's going to open up a lot of flexibility.
That's right. And I think Brad Stevens, he's a pretty smart guy. I'm pretty sure he's going to be a great GM as well. He's going to start making some great moves into the future. The Dallas Mavericks. Can Porzingis return to his best? It's sort of going well to start this season. But can he even be the second best player on a championship team? And let me answer that. No, he can't. Can't be the second best player on a championship team. Even if he had LeBron James next to him, he couldn't be the second best player on a championship.
He could if...
No. It needs to be the
third.
third.
Players 3, 4, and 5, and 6 were great. And he had that... Yeah. He had like the freedom to do what he wanted. That's the only time where he could do something like that.
But that's we talked about high floor Golden State Warriors 73-9.
Yeah.
So that's a good example. Yeah. Put him as the second best player. But I don't reckon, for example, he's even above Draymond or Clay in that team. Isn't that?
Well, that's because it's the Warriors. That team is ridiculous.
But like, yeah, right, that's true.
For the 2020 Raptors, Pascal Siakam was their second best player.
I reckon Kyle Lowry was.
Oh yeah, probably.
This is what I'm saying, and you're not going to find me one.
But in that setting, if you traded out Pascal for KP, for example, you could argue that in like a series or something,
maybe,
like you know what I mean, like
that KD went down.
They wouldn't have won the chip, but you know what I mean. Like if in a team that's ridiculously deep, potentially, but unlikely.
So I get to Dallas can't win the championship. It sounds crazy because Luka's that good, but you actually
the rest of the team.
You put the microscope on. I really like Tim Hardaway Jr. Sometimes I feel like he's their second best player.
He has been. He was last year.
Yeah,
which is a
like
worry.
What am I saying? He is.
Maxi Kleber gets underrated.
Yeah, that's right.
So no. They can't, but again, People are impatient with Luka.
That's right.
2, 3, 4 more years.
For me, it's more about the team now.
Yeah.
I mean, as I am impatient with Luka, but his team can't do it either. Maybe he gets angry and I hate his anger because of his team. The Hawks. Nah, they cannot. Similar to what I said about Milwaukee, I know they beat my team. I'm not salty. They're just, you said flash in the pan last episode. That's a good saying. I'm going to use it here. Flash in the pan last year.
A good band too from the 80s. There you
go. Flash in the pan last season.
Mm.
They're going to be fun and good. I think they'll make the playoffs.
Yeah.
They've started terribly this season, but as I said, their best player, Trae Young, has significant holes to his game, and he was very reliant on things that aren't getting called now this season. Yeah. I don't think they can. I don't think they can win the championship. Even last year, they couldn't win the championship. No way. So, no? Just straight up?
No, there's nothing I need to add there.
Portland, I've got no chance. You know what? What I said about Sixers not finding a trade for Ben, I keep saying I don't think Dame is the type to ask out middle of a season. But, man, it's been a good season for starts of the season for Sixers fans. They've had everyone healthy, and they've been shit.
Yeah.
They have been so shit.
If you're... No, I don't think they would. This was like a Danny Ainge trading KG and Paul Pierce type moment.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, they were in the talks and they knew what was happening and they wanted to go to a contender. And they're a lot older than Dame was now. But that set Boston up for years.
Yeah.
And it destroyed the fans. If Portland want to be a championship team, they're not going to do it with this core. And they could do it with Dame as the best player.
They could.
But they've got no one else to trade in that core to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Your best option now to win a championship in the next 10 years is to get rid of Dame, unfortunately, and go complete rebuild. Because you could get
to be able
for
to
Dame.
do in Portland with Dame right now, you'd need a super GM and a super coach, like revolutionary for both of those positions. But we're not talking fairy tales here, So please ask out Dame. They can't win the championship. Memphis, last one. I reckon they're the last. So these 14, I think you said, teams, they're the last ones that have to be considered. They can't win the championship.
I was surprised you put them in that list.
Yeah, they can't. But look, the thing is, once I put in the Sixers and the Hawks, and then I'm like, I should put in Dallas, I should put in Portland and Memphis. They can't win it. No. Fun, but can't win it.
So much fun.
Yeah.
I hope Jar's okay.
So do I. He's he's got a thing, doesn't he?
Yeah.
On that quickly, Derrick Rose got to go help him out. He's very similar to the bounce of Derrick Rose, and if I was him, maybe I've read something about that. Derrick Rose has got to go to Ja Morant and be like, look, bro.
Calm down.
Reminds
me of young Westbrook as well.
Yeah, of course.
Westbrook somehow avoided everything, but...
Let's get on to the segment.
Yeah.
Let's try and smash out the segment.
Where are my notes? Here they are.
All right.
Let's go.
We're doing start, bench, cut. A very common NBA sort of game to play. I'll start off.
Yep, go for it.
All right. Start, bench, cut.
I wonder if we've got any of similar ones.
Surely we do. Jeremy Grant, Andrew Wiggins, and Rudy Gay, all at their prime. I reckon we've seen enough of the two younger ones to know their prime.
Okay.
They're all within a couple of centimetres of the same height. They're all small / power forwards. And also, I don't actually have my answers yet, so I got to think about it as well.
I don't think we've seen the best of Wiggins yet.
You don't?
Only because he's
26.
Yeah, but in this world, I think he's in a perfect situation for him now with playing with Steph. He's never going to get better looks and whatnot. He might develop a little bit more, but I'm not going to go into that because you never know. But Rudy Gay, cut. Straight up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
At his best?
At his best. Not Rudy. Rudy Gay.
Yeah.
Even at his best.
He's not better than one of these two?
I don't think so. I think I would start Jeremy Grant.
Yeah.
He's been playing the last 2 years when he bet on himself, wanted to go and be a franchise player. I really liked him. And this might be my recency bias. But I always thought Rudy was he got bounced around the league for a reason.
He did.
He wasn't that different to OJ Mayo. who was score the ball. I think they played together
All
for
the-
a
all
season,
these
which is why I
names.
always put them together.
Yeah.
Score the ball, did nothing else, and did it inefficiently as
Great
well.
defender. Good three. All of these are like 3 and D. Oh,
Jeremy Grant is...
with a bit more.
I would...
They're not quite, your
with
vet
a good team
minimums.
around them, but with an average team around him, Jeremy Grant's the only one I could see being like the number one option on a playoff team.
Yeah.
Not a good playoff team, but a playoff team. The other two I couldn't.
So start. Say it for me. So for the
Start Grant, bench Wiggins, cut. I was going to say OJ Mayo.
Rudy Gay.
Rudy Gay.
I have to go with Stark Grant, bench Gay, and cut Wiggins just because they're just so good.
And the issue with Wiggins is he was terrible in Minnesota.
I'm going to, in just talking positive, I'm going to hope, like you said, that we haven't seen the best of him, but I reckon we have. I reckon it's been long enough.
There's no better player in the league other than probably LeBron in the last 10 years that makes other players better on their team than Steph.
Yeah.
So Wiggins is in a perfect scenario. Maybe he's not as good as what he is now, just because he's playing with Steph.
Yeah. And you might come to me and say, oh, Jeremy Graham, what do you mean? As soon as he's gone to Detroit and he's the main man, or one of the main men. So Wiggins has always been one of the main men.
Yeah.
Rudy Gay has put up a nice career of, around the sort of 18, 20 points mark.
Played well in Sacramento.
Of not always being the main man, or sometimes. Anyway, Jeremy Grant, this first opportunity, I know they're really bad, Detroit, but his efficiency at his best, which he's continuing with, they're all great defenders. I don't know if you've looked much into Andrew Wiggins, but at their best, they're all great defenders.
They're all defenders.
They're all great. Rudy Gay was one of the best defenders in 2013.
Where'd you pull that one from?
Well, I was checking this stuff before. He was 12th in defensive win shares in 2013, Marc Gasol and Mike Conley times.
Because he was playing on that team.
Anyway, so for me, Jeremy Grant, Rudy Gay, and then Andrew Wiggins.
Okay.
Shout out to the guy who makes the logos, Jasper. He's a Warriors fan and he hates when I trash the Warriors. I love the Warriors and I think he really likes Wiggins. So sorry about that, Jay-Z. All right.
Okay.
JL.
This is my on the fringe of top 10 players kind of one. Paul George, Damian Lillard, Jimmy Butler.
Shit.
And I know Lillard's a guard, but I feel like they've all been number one options.
Yeah, my brain just hurt itself.
But they're all kind of the same kind of player in a way in terms of
all right,
they've always been
out,
fringe.
It might hurt, but it's straight out. Dame's third. Dame's cut. Never forget what Jimmy Butler did in the bubble. I know that might be a one-off, and we'll see. But it's not for me. What he did in the bubble and against AD and LeBron was and that 40-point, was it a 40-point triple-double?
Yeah.
That was
Game 5, I think.
Yeah. That was insane. That run and that series and him. And we talked about, even though he wasn't the best, this is what the NBA is about. Putting the team on your back in the last moments. So Jimmy Butler is ahead of Dame. And I don't know about a lot of people, but I'm one of the only PG lovers, I feel like. I got to go, even though PG has been shit in the playoffs all the time, apart from some Indiana times, it's got to be start PG, bench Jimmy, and cut Dame, because PG at his best is one of the, I've said before, he's one of the top 5 players in the NBA, and you guys all killed me for that.
Well, he's third in MVP voting in 2018.
Yeah, and he does this, and I'm willing to grant that playoff P comes a thing, right? He's a wing. He's one of the best defenders. He shoots, he dunks, he does everything. In another life, he's, where he has a different brain, he's as good as Kawhi. You know what I'm saying?
Crumbling.
That's right. So it's got to be PG, Jimmy, Dame. What do you got? Sure.
I'm torn on this one. I unfortunately like you, I would have to cut Dame purely for defensive reasons.
Yeah, he's one of the worst defenders.
I think offensively he's the best of the three. But if I'm going deep in the playoffs,
that's right.
I don't see him there. Now this is where I'm torn because
wow, I can't believe this.
Jimmy Butler in the bubble achieved heights that Paul George hasn't.
Yes,
but Paul George has put together argument between 2017 and 2019. He was a better player for 100 or 200 games.
And wasn't he really great? So playoff talking, because you're talking bubble. Yeah. Wasn't Paul George really great? Didn't they go conference finals against Miami? Beaten, obviously, but
yeah, in 2013.
And wasn't he great in those times, or did he choke?
No, he was fantastic.
Yeah.
Young PG was fantastic, and even now his playoff reputation is not as bad as people think.
It's just the nicknames.
Yeah. But Paul George has strung together like 250 games better than Jimmy Butler strung together 250 games in their careers. But Bubble Butler was that's a better series than Paul George has ever done.
Bubble Butler's one of the best players ever.
I think I'm going to have to go the same as you and go Butler.
Yeah.
Start him.
No, start PG was me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Didn't I say that? I thought I said that. Start PG, bench Butler. I hope I did. Cut Dame.
Find out. All right, well, I'm going start Butler.
Over PG?
Over PG.
Ah, okay.
And then cut Dame.
I hope I said start PG and cut Butler because that's what I need. Anyway, let's keep going. Let's keep smashing them out. Very good so far. All right. Jonas Valanciunas, Domantas Sabonis, and Nikola Vucevic.
Go again.
Valanciunas, Sabonis, Vucevic.
JV played well today. He had 29 and a half.
Jay, I tracked off, but he was making 3 after 3 after 3. And here's what I want to say. Jonas Valanciunas is one of the most underrated players in the NBA. I still don't know if I might cut him here, but he's so underrated. Like, I'm starting to think like he could find himself, in another life, and maybe still, he could find himself on a championship winning team.
He'll be a 2020 mark or so. He'll get to the end of his career, and he's
my mind went exactly there. But wasn't he traded out for Marcus?
Yeah.
Damn. He's a gun, Valanciunas.
Yeah. What's your? Well, I'll go first. I suppose you asked me. JV.
Credit that Sabonis is 25.
I think I'm going Sabonis. I'd start Sabonis.
Yeah.
He's an all-star. I know Vooch is as well, but Sabonis is better defensively. Weird little niche thing I've noticed. I think it was Brian Scalabrine that pointed this out. Sabonis is one of the best passers in the league out of the pick and roll.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets the ball, from the guard, gets it one step, finding guys in the corner. Unbelievable. Never turns it over. Has great hands. He's not going to say triple-double machine, but no, he passes the ball well for a big man. Better than the other two. Defends probably better than the other two.
Yeah.
I'm going Sabonis. Vooch second. Fantastic offensive player. Proven himself time and time again. Stuck in Orlando for too long, and we've seen him with the Bulls now. He's not playing as well as he has, but he's helping a winning team. And then JV, lucky last, unfortunately.
I'm going to just quickly look how old JV is. He's 29. If JV was younger, I would probably be like, this. We're seeing too good stardom rising. I'm with you.
Same.
Even though Sabonis is 25, he's getting somewhere. Sabonis is a great player, a real good player. Vucevic over the span. I'm not gonna deny it. The span of Vucevic, I don't reckon it's that important. I don't reckon his role is that important to playoff basketball. But unless you've got real defensive shorter guys, because he's the tallest guy on the Bulls,
He's not that bad of a defender.
I know, but he's
It's just if he's on the perimeter, he gets cooked.
Yeah, but in general, like, I know, well, we're in the 3-point era, and coming up against his guys, I reckon, he can't stop like Jokic, Embiid, Giannis. All those three can bang against each other. the reason why Vucevic is always on the bottom of those, even though he scores so much and he assists and he does so much well offensively, he's not one of those big ones of defensively. Anyway, I feel like JV spikes might be a bit higher, but over the span, Vucevic or Vooch has to be second. So yeah, Sabonis reaching high heights, then Vooch, and then Valanciunas.
Okay, my next one for you: Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving, and John Wall for 2022 only.
I was thinking about putting Ben Simmons today, but it's a tough one. Anyway, so we're talking at their best.
I'll go. No,
even though I just talked about Vooch's
I want to go. I want to go at the best, and I want a quick one for this season only. Who are you picking?
What do you mean?
Well, Ben's not going to play it all this season. Kyrie might.
So you had to take them on board.
Yeah, Kyrie might play this year.
Well, it just came
John
out.
Wall
John
wants
Wall
to play
wants
this
to play,
year.
right? So if for that one, I'm going John Wall. I reckon I'm going Ben and then Kyrie because I reckon Kyrie is less likely to play than Ben. I don't reckon Kyrie's going to get vaccinated.
But do you reckon he gets traded to a team where he can play?
No, I don't reckon that happens either. I reckon it's already been reported he's not getting renewed at the end of the season. I reckon they see it out. Good friend KD, thank you for the experience. He might retire. I reckon it's all gone from here for Kyrie.
All right.
For this season, if we're joking around, I would go John Wall, Ben, Kyrie. That's because likelihood of playing.
But do you want John Wall playing for you? Is it better to have him on the bench?
And do you really want me to say at their best?
At their best, go for it.
At their best, Kyrie Irving starts.
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving, John Wall, Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd agree.
At their best.
At their best.
Bloody Ben Simmons. You know what? I've realised that I go to think, am I going to start talking on the podcast about, doing things like this about Ben? But I'm off Ben until he shows it in the playoffs. I'm off. Even if he has to go to the Warriors and be Draymond Green and it works for him, I'm off him until he shows it in the playoffs. I'm sick of you can't get to the playoffs and not be existent. All right, let's quickly get one or two more in. All right. Oh, I've got two great ones and I only want to do one more. All right. We've already talked about these ones, but I reckon this is a real good one. Jimmy Butler, DeMar DeRozan, or Andre Iguodala at their best.
Primes. 2015 Iggy's number one.
2015 Iggy.
Yeah. Oh no, sorry, 2013 Iggy when he was at the Nuggets. 2014.
I reckon the best Iggy was in Philly. Because he was one of the main men. Or at least that's where we got the production.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's had a long, great career.
With Drew Holiday.
But and a little bit of AI at the start. Obviously, always known to be a defensive monster. But he was also... Okay, he's not silky offensively, but he could do it. He gets it. He's a big game player, Iggy. And he was like sort of the leader on the Sixers in that time. I think other than AI.
When he went to Denver, and they finished with the 1 seed, I think.
I'm not sure.
No, they finished with 3 seed and got beaten by the Warriors in the first round.
Yeah.
That was when he was at his best, in my opinion.
So DeMar
would be... I'd cut DeMar.
Yeah, DeMar's third.
Only because I think he was probably the best regular season player.
Is that
almost.
a good one, though? They're all the similar player.
DeMar, he's put up stats for a long time. Fantastic offensively, but the Trash Bros was around for a reason.
It really hurt his legacy when he got traded for Kawhi, and
definitely.
Like just a straight swap. And then
the worst thing was, do you know what I hate? Not what I hate because I don't actually care about it. I use the word hate too often. DeMar DeRozan was better than Kyle Lowry in all those playoff series where they were shit together.
But now Kyle
Lowry's got this legacy of, but if, for example, they did trade, and it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
But if they traded out Lowry for Kawhi,
yeah,
and they won a championship with that team, we'd be talking about it completely the other way.
So Iggy first, Jimmy. That's a tough one because you talked about so when you think
it's been
of Jimmy,
so long since we've seen Iggy. I don't think I was ever as worried about Iggy as I was at prime Jimmy Butler. So I think I'd go Jimmy first.
Yeah.
I think I'd start Jimmy, bench Iggy.
But it's funny that we just go, it's only that one bubble run.
It's
I mean, Jimmy has had a great career, but the one bubble run, it takes him from here to here.
Yeah.
Whereas
close.
Iggy's got a finals MVP. I know, but he's still got it.
That's the worst finals MVP of all time.
I know.
Like, without a doubt.
So you going Jimmy Iggy or you going Iggy Jimmy?
Jimmy, Iggy, Tamar.
I'm going to go Iggy Jimmy.
And there's not much in it.
Yeah, there's not much in it. I just think now we put Jimmy, we were talking about how good Jimmy is, but now when you put into perspective what Iggy's done, how important he's been, even when he's been a role player, and when it's like the Jeremy Grant thing. You ask him to be in his prime. You ask him to be a main man, he'll give you 18 points a game.
And we lost a lot of Iggy's prime to being a role player.
Yeah, that's right. Like his prime, he went to be a role player. Anyway, so for me, it's got to be prime Iggy, Jimmy, and then DeMar. Let's go one more from you.
I've got two for you. You can pick which one you want.
Okay.
Do you want the serious one, which could lead to a good conversation, or do you want the fun one?
Let's finish off on the fun one. I know you want to give me which one do you want to give me?
I don't know.
You give me which one you want. You got to want one deep down.
Do you want the one that's first on the list or second on the list?
First. It's a funny one, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Okay, go. Serious.
Right. Rudy Gobert, Draymond Green, Bam Adebayo. Top 3 in defensive player last year.
Draymond first. Straight. Draymond straight away. You're going to have to give me your other one. I don't think that's valid. Bam's too early. As good as Bam's been, you're fired.
For this season, not around this season, but the last few years.
All right. Well, okay. So I would just go Draymond, and I would go Rudy, because I just think we need to. It's one thing to hit heights, but this is what I'm saying. It's too early. I reckon Bam needs to be sitting at heights for a while for me to be like, okay, here we go. This is where I'm rating him forever.
Rudy's tried and tested, and he's proven he's a very, very good player. Bam
is going to be better than Rudy. That's, in my opinion, maybe not defensively, but Bam as a player, in my opinion, will be a better player than Rudy Gobert ever was overall. However, it's too early. It's too early. Bam could break his leg tomorrow.
I'll give you the fun one.
Give me the fun one.
Boban Marjanovic.
Bojan
Bogdanovic. And Bogdan Bogdanovic.
That's a fucking good one. That's a good one. Oh.
Now, even better if you can tell me which one's which.
Okay, Bojan is the 7 foot million.
You're Boban.
What did I say?
Bojan.
Oh, shit. Boban Marjanovic is the 7 foot million. I'm pretty sure he's on the Mavs right now.
Yeah.
What a legend. He's the nicest guy in the NBA.
I love him.
And
then there's Bojan Bogdanovic.
Bojan is the Jazz. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got it written.
Yeah, I had to write it down because I always get confused.
Yeah, Bojan is the Jazz. And tell me the other Bogdan?
Bogdan Bogdanovic.
It's Bogdan. It's not Brogdon?
No.
No. Bogdan.
I should have put Malcolm Brogdon in there as well.
Bogdan Bogdanovic. This is actually difficult now. Okay, so...
You're cutting one of them, surely.
Yeah, well, I have to.
Well, no, but there's one obvious one to cut.
Boban.
Yeah, unfortunately, Boban's gone.
I don't want to say it.
He's averaging 4 points per game.
Isn't he like the most effective field goal? What is that stat? He's like the best player ever.
No, he's got the best offensive rating on every single year.
Yeah, something like that. It's hilarious. Yeah, Boban cut. Hurts me to say it. Shit. I got to go Bojan start.
Yeah.
Bogdan is good, but he's hit higher heights. That's it. I talk about peak of powers, higher heights. They're both solid, but...
I feel like they play similar roles.
Yeah. Bogdan
handles the ball.
Yeah. But I would want Bojan first to win me a playoff.
He's going to score
game.
20
Yeah.
more often than not.
And he makes
compared
big
to-
shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, so does Bogdan. But that's actually a good one, actually, comparing the two. But
Especially because Bogdan's a lot younger.
yeah.
So there is time for him
He's
to...
actually sneakily old, though. He's not
He got drafted
real-
like 2014, I reckon.
Yeah, but he
But didn't come over for a while.
Yeah, yeah. So he's not like real as young as you might think, but he's younger than Bojan.
I'd go the same order as you. We're agreeing for once.
We're agreeing. Anyway, we got to wrap it up there. The Sixers are playing the Celtics in a couple days, JL. You going to be tuning in at all? Take your hour lunch break then? He takes an hour lunch. Hey, we want comments below. What's better and what's bloody stupid? An hour lunch or half an hour lunch?
Well, I don't get a half an hour. I get an hour lunch.
But what would you choose? You choose your hour lunch now because you love it.
I hated it at first. I was bored.
But now you love
Now I
it.
rely on it.
Now you love it.
Oh, I make a cup of tea.
Yeah.
I sit down.
What's better, an hour lunch or half an hour lunch? I can't believe that's where we got to. But anyway,
That's going to be the most popular video this week.
are you going to tune into Celtics Sixers?
I will be... If I don't, I'll watch the replay.
Yeah. Can you choose when you take your break?
To an extent.
To an extent. Anyway, you'll see the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
A bit of those ones.
Always.
Anyway, I'm not sure. Is it in Philly or in Boston? Do you remember?
In Philly, I think.
Let's just have a quick
Yeah,
check.
I've still got it open.
Still got it open?
I reckon I do. In Boston.
It's in Boston.
Wait, no, that's the December one that we're talking about. See, the games aren't close together. You said they were. It's in Boston still.
It's in Boston. All right. So we've got a couple in Boston coming up this week in Boston. All right. So I look forward to you wearing that Simmons jersey, JL. Oh, man, you're going to hate it. You're going to hate it, aren't you? Oh, man. We'll see. Anyway, it's going to be interesting.
Might have to get a COVID test on Tuesday morning.
Keep a lookout for that. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Bronx Cheer Basketball Show. If you're new to the show, hit subscribe, follow, or hit that notifications bell on YouTube. Follow us on TikTok and Twitter and Facebook and all that Instagram. And JL, I'll see you in the Ben Simmons jersey next week.
Fuck off.
When he's sticking you and taking all your money.